Hello there, good morning and welcome to this, the WP Builds weekly WordPress newsletter. This is number 86. It covers the WordPress news for the week commencing the 21st of October 2019 and it was published on Monday the 28th of October 2019. My name's Nathan Wrigley from pictureandword.co.uk, a small web development agency based in the north of England, and a couple of things to share with you, a bit of housekeeping before we begin. If I can get you to go over to wpbuilds.com, there's a couple of subscribe forms there. The one that's grey is going to enable you to keep up to date with what we produce on a Monday. You're listening to it now, the WordPress news, and also the podcast that we put out every Thursday. But perhaps more importantly, in the run-up to Black Friday, we've got a blue form on there, and it's called the WP Builds Deals Update form. And if you subscribe to that, I'm going to send you a very, very short plain text email every time I hear about a WordPress deal that comes out. You can look at the title very quickly and decide this is not for me and bin it without even bothering to open it. On that page, there's also ways to subscribe to us on your favourite podcast player. Join our Facebook group. We've now surpassed 2,300 WordPressers in that group, and it's very friendly. And there's a whole other bunch of ways as well, like our YouTube channel as well. Also, wpbuilds.com/deals. That page is a bit like Black Friday, but every day of the week. We've got a whole host of WordPress products and deals on there, so go check it out if you're thinking of buying something, because you never know, it might already have a coupon code on there. wpbuilds.com/win if you would like to take part. We've got a competition which is actually running out today, so if you're listening to this on the day it came out, we've got 3 growth licenses for the RafflePress plugin. It's really good. I'm using RafflePress on that page, and you can go and see what it does. It's like a viral marketing thing. So there's 3 licenses up for grabs, so why not go and enter that competition and see if you can win it. And last but by no means least, wpbuilds.com/advertise if you would like to advertise on the podcast and get your product or service in front of a WordPress specific audience, a bit like these guys did. The WP Builds news was brought to you today by Page Builder Cloud. Work faster in your page builder of choice by reusing your cloud save templates. Import and export any layout to any of your WordPress websites. Page Builder Cloud works with Elementor, Beaver Builder, Breezy, Gutenberg, and many more. You can get a free trial set up today at pagebuildercloud.com. And Kinsta. Are you tired of unreliable or slow hosting? If so, check out Kinsta, who takes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by the Google Cloud Platform, all their plans include PHP 7, SSH, and 24/7 expert support. And you can migrate today for free at kinsta.com. Now, I don't know if you know that, but every single week we do a live version of this news. We have several people on a live call in our Facebook group and on our YouTube channel. You can find that over at wpbuilds.com/live. We do that at 2 p.m. UK time, so it's probably early morning in the US. And this week, sadly, I'm not going to be there, but it will be happening. Paul Lacey, who is a frequent visitor to the live show, has decided to take the reins, and he's going to be joined by a couple of other WordPressers, Anchin LaRue and Pete Chineri. So yeah, go and join them at 2 p.m. UK time on Monday, the day that this podcast comes out, and give them your support, because Paul's not done it before, and he's got to be able to work out how to press all the buttons and so on and so forth. So yeah, I hope that goes well. Right, let's get to this week's WordPress news. We always divide our WordPress news up into various different sections, and the first section is always WordPress Core. This week over on WordPress.org we have an article entitled WordPress 5.3 Release Candidate 2. It's exactly what it says on the tin. We are now at Release Candidate 2, so we're very, very close to the official release date of the 12th of November, but there's a few things which have been fixed. For example, 3 bugs contained in Release Candidate 1 with the block editor have been fixed. A bug has been fixed where links with within comments did not get the correct rel attribute. The scaled dash string has been added to the file names when images are downsized if they're determined to be big. The button group layout has been fixed in IE11 and a couple more minor things. So very nice indeed. If you want to test that, please go to the link in the show notes and you can test it, so that hopefully all of those things are cemented ready for the 12th of November. And also on WP Tavern this week we have an article entitled Gutenberg 6.7 introduces Storybook and gradient backgrounds. Justin Tadlock writes an article about the fact that the first implementation of gradient backgrounds has been on the button element. So now you can add gradients of all manner, and there's a picture in the WP Tavern post with a suitably garish looking button. Justin thinks that this in the future will be a really nice feature. So for example, it might go to the background of whole blocks itself, but at the moment the test bed is buttons. And he also makes the point that he feels that it's the process of getting these things out in Gutenberg is a bit back to front, because theme and plugin authors are kind of left to catch up. These things are released by the Gutenberg team. Theme and plugin authors have to sort of like then adapt everything, and then things sort of settle down after a period of time. And he makes the point that it would be better if this kind of development could go on in tandem. Nevertheless, it will be a nice feature in the future, but now we're simply testing it out on buttons. And there's something called Storybook for developers. It says the Gutenberg team introduced Storybook support for Gutenberg. Developers can test Storybook via the Gutenberg Storybook page, and there's a link in the article. Storybook is a development and testing environment for user interfaces. It allows developers to create, test, and showcase components in an isolated environment, apart from primary platform or application. This essentially allows developers to build components without the dependencies of the platform before porting them over. A story within the Storybook system represents the visual state of a component. Storybooks are collections of stories. So this is very much a developer-friendly piece of news. And there's a video which has been put together by Marcus Kazmirkats. I probably pronounced that really badly, but anyway, thank you, Marcus, for putting that video together. And it shows you how that could be used. Let's move along to our next section, which is the community section. And the first piece this week is over on the 2020.europe.wordcamp.org website. It's a call for speakers. It feels like only yesterday that we were in WordCamp Europe in Berlin, but times have moved on. We're thinking about next year's WordCamp Europe, which of course is going to be held in Porto in Portugal. It's taking place towards the middle of next year, and already they're looking for speakers. If you go to the link in the show notes, you'll find out that you can apply now. They're looking for a whole range of topics because, as you may know, about half the people who attend WordCamps are nothing to do with development. So they're looking for topics like accessible design, advanced development, business strategy, copywriting, frameworks, project management, storytelling, success stories, typography, working remotely, and a whole bunch of others. So if any of that interests you and you would like to put yourself in front of, well, an enormous crowd of people, the talks can take anything up to 40 minutes or an hour, and, well, 40 minutes of an hour, I should say, which leaves 20 minutes for session questions at the end and things like that. Well, anyway, if that seems like you, go and check out the link. There's a really interesting and possibly quite contentious piece over on the pixelgrade.com website entitled Media Coverage in WordPress Should Take Another Route. This article has been written by somebody who, although I don't know of her, she goes on to express that she's written professionally in all sorts of spheres, both governmental, non-governmental, financial, and so on and so forth for years. And she's writing in the WordPress space, and she is finding a lot of the things that she reads to be fairly disingenuous. What I mean by that is she feels that there's been a move in recent years where people are publishing content. So let's say, for example, that I'm a theme developer. I might ask people to promote my theme, and the people who publish those promoted pieces, she is claiming, often are doing this simply just for the affiliate linking model. So they're making money out of writing reviews. And she points to the fact that a lot of the writing itself is of absolutely no... Well, there's no thought been put into it. It's just a series of nouns and adjectives, if you like, just one after the other. And she gives a really interesting paragraph. She said, how familiar does this sound? The Insert name theme is a modern yet simple, efficient yet flexible theme for bloggers and for publishers. It could work for magazines and lifestyle websites, and it's full of customization options which can help you create several layouts out of one. The multiple demos guide you through an ocean of possibilities, but no worries, you can handle them by yourself. And it goes on and on and on like that. And she's basically saying that any publisher who's producing that stuff really needs to be a bit more mindful about the audience, but any theme author or plugin author who is allowing these articles to be published simply for the affiliate revenue that can be generated is probably in the long term shooting themselves in the foot. It's a very long piece, it's much more nuanced and complicated than I've just explained, but if that topic piques your interest, go and check out the Pixel Grade website by clicking on the link in the show notes. An article on WP Tavern's website entitled GoDaddy Launches eCommerce Hosting Plan in partnership with WooCommerce. A couple of days ago, the 22nd of October, the company GoDaddy launched an e-commerce tier for their managed hosting plans. This allows you to essentially point and click and go through a wizard and have WooCommerce set up, and the configuration that you receive will be based upon the options that you chose during that process. You will also, assuming you're on the correct tier, get a free SSL certificate, and obviously with WordPress and specifically WooCommerce powering so much of the internet, WooCommerce, of course, powering about 30% of online shops. This makes sense for both companies, Automatic and GoDaddy. They have got an official relationship in order for this to happen, but there's no public information available about what that official relationship is yet. The list of bundled WooCommerce extension includes, there's probably about 20 of them. It's things like advanced notifications, WooCommerce brands, checkout field editor, follow-ups, WooCommerce points and rewards, and a whole bunch more. You can see that on the post itself. But there's a whole bunch left out as well. So if you do go into this, you have to be aware that a few options may not be available, and you might have to pony up for some other additional plugins. And they're also talking about the fact that maybe in the future there'll be premium storefront child themes available to customers as well. So if you're after a really simple way to set up WooCommerce without the headache of having to configure it all yourself, this is going to be quite a powerful offer, I would imagine, especially with GoDaddy's clout. Right then, moving on to WordPress plugins and themes. First piece I've got for you is on the AHrefs website, ahrefs.com, and it's called WordPress Meet AHrefs. Be the first to get access to Ahrefs' upcoming WordPress SEO plugin. It's basically a subscribe form. If you are an Ahrefs user, you will probably know exactly what the service does, and this will pique your interest, no doubt. What it says is, let's face it, there are already tons of WordPress SEO plugins, but we think there's room for one more. So we're working on a plugin to help boost your WordPress SEO and pull Ahrefs key metrics into your dashboard. So the plugin will pull those metrics and data into the WordPress dashboard so that you can do keyword and content research without having to basically leave the WordPress website. They're saying that it's basically for customers of theirs at the moment, but it may have functionality in the future so that it can be used by non-customers. And they're saying it's not a replacement for other SEO type tools. It is in fact something to bolster those. And it's going to be available hopefully in December 2019. So maybe go check that out. Get on their mailing list. On the toolset.com website this week, we have an article entitled Design Great Archive Pages Using the New Views Beta. Amir posted on the 24th of October about the latest beta release of Views, brings you the power of creating WordPress archive pages using the block editor. There's a 15-minute video by one of their employees, Agnes, and she shows off Views 3.0 Beta 2 and how you can create archive pages basically with a point and click interface. It's really straightforward. I had the pleasure of trying this out in a previous beta release of Views. It was a little bit more difficult, and they've managed to iron out an awful lot of the kinks, and now it looks as if it's really basically ready for production use. So you can drag in any kind of custom post type and fields, use the Gutenberg block editor interface with their container block, which adds a whole load of styling options, and make really nice designs for your archive pages. The container block allows you to do things like alter the overlay opacity for backgrounds. You can add parallax effects to images, minimum height settings for containers, vertical alignment of elements inside a container, transparency values for colors. And containers are now reusable blocks. You've also got the capacity to to change who can amend these views. So in the usual case, you want to set up the website and you really don't want anybody to alter the views. So in this case, you could just, for example, lock it down by default at the admin role. But then if you use Toolset's access control page, you can change the roles and let anybody access it. Whole load of other improvements as well. You can decide if the custom search is going to distribute results on the fly or if you're going to have to press the return key, styling options for hover actions, and a whole load more. So yeah, go and check that out. This is going to be a really straightforward way of creating archives in Gutenberg for Toolset users. Looks really nice. Users of the Page Builder framework will be pleased to know that there's yet another release, only a week after the last one. We're now on version 2.1.1, I believe it is now. There's new options to add a custom mobile logo, SEO press integration, Breadcrumbs, new added edit icon to the logos in the customizer, new WPBF_entry_content_open and various other hooks, and a whole load of other things. So yeah, really nice. Thank you, David, for keeping us up to date. Quite a few things released this week by PowerPack for Beaver Builder. They have an article entitled New Modules, Sitemap, Breadcrumbs and Category Grid, which explains about their 3 new modules. The category grid does as you would imagine. It displays a grid or carousel of categories, tags and other taxonomies on the website. You can set a custom featured image. It's got WooCommerce compatibility, grid or carousel layout. You can display an item count and various other things. Looks really nice. There's also a breadcrumb module. It said, ever wanted to add breadcrumbs with custom styling and got stuck? Meet the new breadcrumbs module. Several SEO plugins have been made compatible. So for example, Yoast SEO, Rank Math and NavXT. Breadcrumbs plugin is also compatible. And last but by no means least, they've got the Sitemap module, which kind of gives you the capability of something akin to, I guess, Windows Explorer or something. You can have collapsible and uncollapsible menu items, and yeah, it looks really nice. Very nice, simple styling option. So if you're a user of that plugin or thinking about buying it, go and check that out. But finally, they've got another article because they released something else this week. This is the coupon module for Beaver Builder, and it's basically sets you up with a distinct module for putting a product that you want to offer a coupon code on, and then there's a whole load of options. So for example, you can add the photo, you can show the discount, you can have a discount displayed prominently, click a button to copy the code, and obviously the coupon code itself. So that might be quite interesting if you're trying to set up something for, I don't know, Black Friday or something like that. So yeah, nice work from PowerPack this week. Not to be left behind, the guys at Brainstorm Force have released 2 new products this week. They're both the same basic product, but for their different platforms. So, for example, Ultimate Add-ons for Beaver Builder, we now have the Table of Contents module, which does exactly as you would imagine. It creates a clean and very nice, easy to read table of contents option, which you could put at the top of a piece of long-form content. And then it provides you with things like, you can add headings in the content. You can drag and drop the content module ordering, and you can customize the look and the feel of it. You can alter the bullet point styling, select different headings, and enable smooth scroll. Essentially, it's what you'd expect from a table of contents, but now done inside of a Beaver Builder module. And I have to say, the ones that I've seen on the website look really nice, very simple. You click, scroll to the content that you want, and so on. And so because they've released this for Beaver Builder, they've also released it for Elementor, and there's a separate link in the show notes for this. This is adding a table of contents for Elementor, basically the exact same product, only on the Elementor side of things. Drag and drop, customize the table, exactly the same stuff really, but so nobody's left out if you've got Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor or Beaver Builder. The final piece of news in the plugin and theme section is all about WPMU Dev's Hustle plugin, which is a plugin which allows you to gather things like email addresses with pop-ups and things like that. It's the WordPress opt-in plugin on their platform. Their article is entitled "The Best WordPress Pop-up Plugin Now with Security Options." So obviously, with gathering content from people, such as their email address and so on, we get under the problem of GDPR compliance, and so WPM UDev have tried to tackle this in a whole bunch of ways. So, for example, they've integrated their GDPR compliance with a bunch of the email delivery platforms that they integrate with. So, for example, they integrate with a self-hosted platform called Sendy, and now they will fire off the GDPR, the tag basically, which in Sendy says, yes, this person has subscribed and double opted in, and so on and so forth. They're also going to be doing exactly the same thing with MailChimp. They're going to integrate the list in such a way that MailChimp is aware of the GDPR options that have been given permission, and the same is true for ActiveCampaign as well. They've also got a whole new range of privacy options and settings. So this is things like you can periodically anonymize all of the GDPR data which is stored in the system, and they also have options with how you can expunge the data, for example, by completely resetting the plugin to its vanilla status or deleting data upon install. So all of this seems like a very sensible thing for a plugin such as this to be doing. A few deals that I've spotted this week, just a few this week. Firstly, you can get 25% off BlogVault or Malcare. You can click on the links in the show notes. There's one for BlogVault and there's one for Malcare. That lasts until the 3rd of November, so the code will be automatically applied if you click the link. So 25% off either of those. BlogVault is a kind of backup and restore utility. Malcare is a kind of like firewall antivirus solution, if you like. ManyCam, which is a Windows and Mac desktop app for doing things like live streaming and all of that good stuff, streaming all over the place and having many cameras joining that stream. They've got a premium license, which is only $20. Normally it's $199, so that's a really good saving. You can get a lifetime license to their premium platform for just $20. Click on the link. And there's a couple of things on AppSumo that I thought might be useful for people in the WordPress space. One of them is something called similar content. I can't vouch for it. I don't really know. But anyway, there it is. And there's another one called Live Webinar, which is a webinar platform which they've got on offer, lifetime deal. And those kind of pieces of software are normally charge fairly hefty fees. So that could be a good one. As always, a very, very light touch on the security news this week, but two things to mention over on the WordFence blog. Both of those come from. One is entitled Open Redirect Vulnerability Patched in the Bridge Theme. So if you've ever used or heard of that one, might be worth checking things out. And there is a Stored XSS Patched in Syntax Highlighter Evolved plugin. Have to say, I've not heard of the Bridge Theme or the Syntax Highlighter Evolved plugin, but if you have or have them deployed anywhere, I would certainly go and get them updated and read on the WordFence website about what the vulnerabilities entail or what they might have done. The self-promotional bit, WP Builds, we had a podcast out on last Thursday. It was number 151, entitled Are We Leaking Clients? It was David Wormsley and I having a chat on, well, what could we possibly do to stop clients from leaving us? We talk about a book called Watertight Marketing by Brian E. Thomas, and we're going through it week by week over the next few weeks. And this week was the second part in that. It's a mini series that we're running, and yeah, it was really interesting. I do love these chats, and it's all about kind of shoring up the work which might come from clients that you've already got. Surely the easiest people to get work from are people who you've already worked with, who know, trust you, and have you as their go-to person. So it's all about trying to make sure you plug all those leaks and let as few of those contacts escape you. I'm pleased to say that we've still got one job on the newsletter. The Sotic agency, which is run by Leo Mindel, who's a contributor quite often to the Facebook Live that we do on a Monday with the WordPress news. He's got a job, a software engineer vacancy down in Cardiff, so it's a UK-based job. So click on the link if you are a WordPress software engineer and you would like to be working in or near Cardiff. Go and click on the link for that. The last section is called Not WordPress But Useful Anyway. I think this post that I'm about to link to is not actually all that new, but it kind of relates to something that we talked about recently. We talked about this new SCA, Strong Customer Authentication requirement that is now in effect. 14th of September 2019, it became compulsory to have this integrated into your payment system if you're within the European Union, or I believe it's actually the European Economic Area. And I didn't really understand what it was or what it did. And so this is on the Go Cardless website, and it basically explains what it is. I have to say, I think I'm noticing the effects of all of this. A year ago, I was able to transact and do payments with far less friction than I am doing now. And now I'm being asked multiple times each week to kind of supply additional data just to prove that I am who I say I am. I mean, it's trivial. It takes me a few seconds to do. I suppose from the payment gateway's point of view, it provides some sort of security and certainty that you are who you say you are. Anyway, if you don't know about SCA, Strong Customer Authentication, and you would like to know more, click on that link. Also, there's a link on the TechCrunch website entitled Millions Downloaded Dozens of Android Apps from Google Play that were infected with adware. What can you say? It's such a different approach. The Android platform, by its very nature, is much more open, and things like this do happen from time to time. Might be a good idea if you have an Android phone and you're using some kind of apps which didn't appear to have too many downloads, or in some cases, some of them had as many as 500,000 downloads. So that's actually not that small. Nevertheless, if you're using Android, it might be worth a quick glance over that. 42 apps were found, and yeah, you don't want malware on your phone. And lastly, SpaceX intends to offer Starlink satellite broadband service starting in 2020. Well, SpaceX, which is the brainchild of Elon Musk, who's behind Tesla, they're going to launch their Starlink service for consumers sometime next year. So I presume if you've got the finance available and you're able to be in the correct part of the world, it says it's going to start in northern United States and parts of Canada. 24 launches will provide full global coverage later on. This might be something interesting. Of course, this is a bit of a dream of technologists, because if this happens, then there'll be no part of the globe, including really remote places like the middle of the Pacific or Antarctica, where there is no broadband connection. And presumably it'll be gigantic companies like SpaceX who will be able to benefit from this. Certainly if it is conceivable and it works out to be cost efficient and is fast enough, it's the kind of thing I can see myself subscribing to, because you'll have connectivity wherever you may be. Okay, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you for joining me once again. I really do appreciate it. It does take a little bit of time putting these things together, and it's nice when people come over in some way onto a comment system, like, for example, in YouTube or on the Facebook group, wpbuilds.com/Facebook, and say that they've listened to it and they appreciate it. It certainly makes me feel tremendously good. The WP Builds newsletter was brought to you today by Kinsta. Kinsta takes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by the Google Cloud Platform, your site is secured like Fort Knox and runs on speed-obsessive architecture. You get access to the latest software and developer tools such as PHP 7, SSH and staging environments. And the best part, their expert team of WordPress engineers are available 24/7 if you need help. And you can migrate today for free at kinsta.com. And also by Page Builder Cloud. If you want to dramatically speed up your WordPress website's workflow, then check out Page Builder Cloud. It securely saves all your templates to your own cloud. You can then reuse them on any other websites in seconds. Page Builder Cloud works with Elementor, Breezy, Beaver Builder, Gutenberg, and many more. And it's not just for page builders though. You can save your contact forms and ACF layouts too. Get a free trial today at pagebuildercloud.com. And we thank our sponsors for helping us to put on the WP Builds podcast. Okay, like I said, later on today, if you manage to get to the end of this, later on today, 2 o'clock UK time, Paul Lacey will be talking with Peach and Neri and Anchen LaRue all about the WordPress news. I hope that many of you make the effort to go and check them out. That would be great. I'm sure they'd appreciate the audience. And if I don't see you on Thursday for the podcast, maybe I'll catch you back here next Monday for another news episode. Bye-bye for now.